Hi, welcome to Purchase Broadcast Studios, and today I'm your correspondent, Shelton Jones. For years, SUNY Purchase's Culture Shock has been one of the biggest on-campus events of the year, and proves to still be as students fought off the stormy weather dressing up as mythical beasts and beauties to match the theme. Culture Shock is a weekend-long festival held towards the end of every spring semester as a send-off into finals week, full of fun activities such as games and rides. The main event of Culture Shock, however, are the musical performances. The performances consist of main stage performances, which serve as the opener for the headliner, and side stage performances, which are held in Whitson's and gives students as well as alumni students a chance to perform. The lineup is announced a few weeks prior to the event. Past year's headliners include Drake, Kehlani, Kendrick Lamar, and even Destiny's Child. The 2023 lineup, which includes artists such as Jungle Pussy, Talia Goddess, and headliners Tizo Touchdown, as well as BK the Ruler, received some mixed reactions. While some were excited to be introduced to new artists, several students were disappointed due to the lack of well-known performers. Today, we have rapper, songwriter, and one half of musical duo Signal Coast, Kijani, with us, as well as a senior arts management major, Max Kravitz, who was able to attend this year's Culture Shock. They will be giving us their insight on this divide among the students. How are you guys today?
Doing okay.
Doing pretty all right.
Yeah.
Love to hear it. So, what do you think about this year's Culture Shock lineup in comparison to the past years?
I mean, if you'd want me to go first, I don't necessarily think that I have an issue with not necessarily lesser known artists, but I don't really have an issue with non-A-listers being the headliners at a state university's like little festival. But I did appreciate some of the performances that were there, whether I was super familiar with a lot of their music or not. Really enjoyed Wiki's set. Doo-Wop Kane was there for one song, but really appreciated that. And if you have an issue with what's going on main stage, you might as well just check out side stage. There's a lot going on over there that you might not even be aware of.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's just cool enough to have an event like this happening on a campus. I only been on campus for, this past year and the year before us. So I only got to see Culture Shock twice, but it's just a fun gathering, and I sort of see it as an opportunity just to see new shit.
What else and who else would you have liked to see at Culture Shock, and why?
I like to see the rides, because they're always talking about the rides, and you get there and everything looks so depressing and bleak, and it's raining, So if they either just don't hype up the rides and stuff, and just focus on the music, and give us some really good smooth performances, and hell yeah, yeah. I'm using all the profane words on.
Not suitable for TV.
I know.
But no, I guess less emphasis on the rides, or actual usable good rides could be pretty cool. But I'm so sorry. What was the question again?
Who else and what else would you have liked to see at this year's Culture Shock?
Honestly, I feel like maybe just a more open-minded kind of population of people going there, because I feel like a lot of people who went to it, this also applies to, let's say, Aphrodisiac, let's say, pretty much any purchase run sort of performance, people are very fixated on seeing one artist, one kind of piece of the event, and while they're there, they might completely overlook whatever else is going on over there, completely just disregard it as opposed to appreciating it for what it is, as opposed to not being so-and-so, you know what I mean?
For real, it would be really cool to see like it be treated more as like an opportunity to see new music rather than like a promotion of like a really big, artist. Because I feel like we get enough of that already, and especially if it's free, I think it's fun to see like smaller artists like just like have like the opportunity to perform on a stage at Purchase, and then maybe a few years later, like, oh, they performed at Culture Shock, and I really like their set, So like it's cool.
What does culture shock mean to you as a performer?
Culture shock. What does like the words, like as a definition, mean to me?
No, just like the whole event.
The whole
just,
event?
like as a whole.
I don't really. I mean, I definitely enjoy just the culture at the Stude. Culture shock is. It to me. It just seems like an opportunity, like I said before, like to showcase a lot of what you've been working on, and whether, especially because it comes at the end of the semester, people are, showing the things they've been working on all year, and maybe it gets you excited for the summer releases or whatever, something like that. Like, I think as an artist, it just provides me opportunity to express a side of myself that I'm not always able to, in certain settings,
And what about you as an attendee and as a senior, because this is your last culture shock?
So yeah, this was my last culture shock, but this was also my first culture shock. Last year, I was working the day of. My freshman and sophomore year, COVID kind of got in the way of that. So being able to be a culture shock attendee for the first time in my last year at Purchase, really cool experience. I definitely appreciate it as a showcase, not only for my friends, peers, whoever wants to showcase like where their ideas are at, but also get exposed to new sounds, new art, just new ideas, which I can always appreciate.
Why do you guys think there's such a divide within the Purchase community when it comes to the culture shock lineup?
I mean, I think it's a matter of taste, honestly. I think certain people are geared towards a certain mindset of, they take it as it comes, like whatever is given to them, they'll attend and maybe they'll get something out of it. And other people are a little more closed off in that sense. And I guess it really just depends on, what kind of day it is and like who is like what artists are coming and like who's going to go see them, you know what I mean? Like it's like very specific to, does anybody even know these artists, or it's just like, is it really just a pool of people just getting together and discovering something new together? I don't know if that is like cohesive in what I'm trying to say, but I think there's such a divide just because people are people, and there's always going to be a divide, and nobody's ever going to get what they want. Like you sort of have to like take it as it comes, compromise, and hope for the best.
No, it's definitely a lot of people who I'd say are pretty stuck in their ways, sort of not able to see the forest for the trees sometimes. And I don't know, I feel like if you sort of take it as an opportunity to kind of familiarize yourself with something, as opposed to just like validate what you're already familiar with, like I feel like there's a lot you can get out of it, but where was I going to go with this? I'm sorry. I had something really, really cool to say, but no, it's cool.
If you could change anything about this, actually, no, dub that question. Do you believe that there is true diversity in this lineup? This is how we're going to end it.
Diversity. I mean, I haven't seen the other like culture shocks like that. But from what I see, like, yeah, I think we have like a lot of interesting artists coming to this campus that like I wouldn't have expected to see on the same lineup, like Tizo Touchdown, Laundry Day, Wiki, and like these artists that like I maybe know, but I know them from like 3 different like realms. So like I think it's very cool to see the diversity of artists at Culture Shock this year, for sure.
Yeah, seeing that type of like connective tissue between so many like different sounds, so many different sort of perspectives, so many different like people coming from so many different like places, whether that be artistically, regionally, whatever. Like the fact that Culture Shock's able to sort of be this sort of connector between all of these is definitely something you can't take for granted.
Final question. If you could make any changes to this event in general, what would it be? One change, main change.
I would move the event like a week or two, like up or move it up or back, because every year like it rains, and y'all should learn y'all lesson. Like it rains in spring, so take note.
It should be established, but I don't know. I feel like there should be a lot more promo towards side stage. I feel like as much prominence as like the main stage kind of gets, like I feel like there should be equal, maybe not necessarily equal amounts of promotion, but I feel like there should be a harder push for alumni, for people like actually creating things on this campus. So
yeah.
I don't know, that exposure is important.
So this is the end. I've been your host, Shelton Jones. Thank you guys for tuning in. Kijani, Max, thank you for coming. Thank you guys for conversating about Culture Shock. Hope to see you guys again soon.